morning. Welcome to CATEX TV. My name is Frank Fortunato. This is a live broadcast from Princeton, New Jersey. Today is Wednesday, October 1st, 2008, the first day of Q4. You need to reach us during the broadcast. You can phone in toll-free at 1-866-67-CATEX. Overseas, our AOL instant mail address is CATEX-TV. On this day in history, in 1908, Henry Ford began to produce and sell his Model T automobile, which retailed then at the very expensive price of $825. Today's birthdays, former American President Jimmy Carter is 84 years old today. We have a little bit of breaking news. Our friends out of Colorado State University are at it again. They put out a press release about an hour ago saying that Atlantic hurricane activity will be, quote, well above average in October, with 3 tropical storms, 2 of which are predicted to become hurricanes. The widely watched forecast team said that October storm activity will be nearly twice as active as a typical October. And you've been waiting for the quote. Here it is from William Gray, the leader of the team. We predict that October will be quite active based on climate signals through September. There has been a strong clustering, said Gray, of hurricane activity around mid-July and late August, early September. We think we are now entering a new period of heightened activity that is likely to go on for another 2 or 3 weeks. A couple of blurbs that we picked up off of the internet before we came on. Hartford Financial Services Group, their shares have slumped about 20% now on concern that their exposure to some troubled companies like WAMU and Lehman Brothers and AIG could affect their overall status. Fitch rating has shifted them to negative. That's apparently affecting the whole sector at the moment. The Dow Jones Industrial Average is down about 138 points. And a little-known organization called the Ohio Insurance Institute came out with a press release this morning that was absolutely stunning. They estimated that losses in Ohio, insured losses in Ohio from Hurricane Ike last month could exceed $500 million. The final estimate will be released sometime next week when the Institute finishes compiling what they're working on. And now to our main news. I'll give a little update on the economic situation right now. The president did not appear today in the Rose Garden. This is the first time in a few days he has not come out. Yesterday, of course, the stock market went up pretty nearly 500 points plus, actually. Today, as I mentioned, it's down already. As we'll discuss shortly in the broadcast, there probably will be a Senate vote tomorrow evening, and they expect now, from what we've seen, there's going to be a House caucus of the Democrats tomorrow morning in Washington, at which time they'll announce the new schedule for the new vote. This has had some corresponding effects in the polls. This is from Voice of America. Apparently, a new poll shows Barack Obama leading John McCain in 3 states that are so-called battleground states critical to winning the election. The Quinnipiac survey released this morning showed that support for Obama has jumped to 50% or more in the so-called swing states of Ohio, Florida, and Pennsylvania. The poll was taken over the weekend after the presidential debate. The survey credited Obama's widening lead to the debate performance, as well as to a sagging opinion of Senator McCain's running mate, Alaska Governor Sarah Palin. Palin, of course, is scheduled to debate Joe Biden, the Democratic running mate, tomorrow night, actually, in St. Louis. There are a few commentators who are beginning to say that Obama could sustain a backlash effect, since the polls also seem as if the House of Representatives and the Senate are going to stay Democratic and, in fact, become even more so. And there's a healthy skepticism here in this country of all 3 houses, of all 3 groups, the Senate and the House and the President, belonging to one party. So people have a tendency to split their ticket if that happens. Hopefully we'll see some more information on that. That hasn't been picked up by any of the polls yet. Specifically getting to some of the issues that I discussed with the bills, 2 House leaders in the Congress said this morning, this is from the Republican side and the Democratic side, that headway is being made toward getting the $700 billion financial bill back through Congress. The majority leader, the Democrat Steny Hoyer of the House, and the House Republican whip Roy Blunt agreed that prospects for passage of the bill have improved and they're heartened by indications that the legislation has become more appealing to their constituents back home. Yes, that's what will happen when your constituents log on to Charles Schwab to check their IRA accounts and see the effects of an almost 800-point loss. The plan is set now for a vote in the Senate tonight. This is after Senate leaders have agreed to include tax breaks for businesses and the middle class, as well as to increase the FDIC deposit insurance from $100,000 to $250,000. Senators McCain and Obama and Senator Biden are expected to be flying into Washington this afternoon to vote on the bill tonight. This was a little bit of a surprise by the Senate Majority Leader Harry Reid of Nevada and the Minority Leader Mitch McConnell of Kentucky to bring the vote up, but they apparently hope that a big win tonight is going to put increased pressure on the House to pass the bill sometime Thursday or Friday. We have a couple of economic reports that have come in. We have an ADP report that we'll talk about in a second, but the Supply Management Institute has issued a report on U.S. factory output for the month of September, indicating that it is at its lowest since October of 01, which is actually the October 01 level reported on the September 01 level, which is the month of the terror attacks. So that's an all-time low, at least for the past 7 years. ADP announced that American companies decreased their payrolls by 8,000 jobs during the month of September, which was less than forecast. The ADP reported drop follows a revised 37,000 job decrease in the month of August that was larger than was previously estimated. Growth in overseas orders, according to ADP, is preventing large-scale firings at some firms, while car makers and housing-related businesses are indeed paring staff. A government jobs report later this week may show that the economy lost jobs in September for the 9th consecutive month. This is according to a median forecast conducted by Bloomberg News. The chief economist at an organization called High Frequency Economics of Valhalla, New York, says there's no question labor market conditions are tough, but that the usual cyclical payroll meltdown has not yet happened. It will, though, sooner or later. The ADP report was forecast to show a decline of 50,000 jobs after a drop of 33,000 in August. So it did a little bit better than that. We spoke earlier this week about a meeting that President Sarkozy of France had yesterday morning in Paris. And we're beginning to see, as predicted, some of the output from that meeting. Apparently, the French government will present a bill in the coming weeks to tighten the screws on chief executives who walk away from their posts with golden parachute payoffs. This is according to a spokesman for Sarkozy. Sarkozy told the cabinet meeting yesterday, it was held against the backdrop, of course, of the global credit crunch, that he wanted, quote, the very quick adoption of a text that restricts the system of golden parachutes. According to the spokesman, he wants this to be outlined very specifically in a bill in the next few weeks. Sarkozy, of course, campaigned for the presidency last year on a promise to outlaw golden parachutes after an outcry over a multi-million euro payment given to French aerospace executive Noël Fourgard of the Airbus parent company EADS. Details of Fourgard's 8.5 million euro package were released after Airbus announced it would cut 10,000 jobs across Europe. That was not a popular announcement. The growing globalization of insurance markets and the need for cooperation amongst regulators has prompted a compact by the Bermuda Monetary Authority and the New York State Insurance Department. The memorandum of understanding was signed yesterday. It was drawn up between the two groups to support their ongoing interaction and working relationship. The BMA's CEO Matthew Elderfield and the New York Superintendent Eric Dinello signed the agreement, which takes effect immediately. The agreement sets out procedures for cooperation between the two entities, which will include the exchange, handling, protection, and return of information relevant to their respective markets for regulatory purposes. The agreement also covers procedures for the regulators to both request and provide investigative assistance. So this is something that both groups have been looking for a while. The